I have Stencyl open, and I'm going to talk just briefly about how to replace art that you have in Stencyl. So if I click here to create a new game, I have this older Crash Course kit from a couple years ago that was still in use through most of 2015. And if I go to my actor types, I have Mambo here and I have Pronger. Now, Pronger is a little bit more simple. He only has two different animations, a idle animation and a stomped animation. If I go to Mambo, he's a little bit more complex. I have idle left, idle right, jump left, jump right, and the walk left and walk right. Now on either one of these, you can see when an animation has multiple frames and is thus animated, or a single frame. And the same for Mambo. So we can see here that these are all single graphics. And we can see here that walk left has 4 frames and walk right has 4 frames. So if I wanted to make my own graphics, I would be needing to think sort of in those manners. So I have Piskel here, which I talked about previously. If I wanted to create a sprite, I absolutely could. So I'm just going to do something very simple just to give you the idea. So maybe I take my circle tool and I decide that I want to create some sort of little light blue character. And we'll say he looks like that, and I'll fill it with the paint bucket tool. I can maybe give him a little leg there, and he can have another leg here. And we will make a slightly darker color to give him a little bit of depth. So he feels like he has a little more dimension and he's not hopefully just a flat object. And I could take this and make a brighter color as well. Alright, and then of course he needs some eyes, right? So there we go, make a slightly darker color. And we'll give him a mouth as well. We'll use the same previous color that we have there. Alright, there we go. Not amazing, but it'll work. So this might be our idle graphic, right? And so we can export this just as a PNG. So we'll hit download here, and we can save it. And it went to my downloads. So I can drag this out. And I have it on my desktop, and we will call this maybe idle left. So instead of it being idle left up here, we can create a new one, and we could call this maybe, we can't call it the same thing, but I could just call it maybe idle left without the underscore, or idle L, or whatever makes sense. Click here to add a frame. I can choose my image, which I can then navigate to my desktop and choose idle left and add. And now we have this really small little idle left graphic, which I can then go into Mambo's behaviors and change it from idle left here to instead idle left, the new one that I just created. Now if I try this, we can see if it worked. So here we have Mambo standing. We can see it works, although maybe not quite as expected. But we did have a little clue that he's kind of big here and he's kind of small there. So we could try to maybe fix that if we go here to our resize. Maybe we make this bigger. So let's maybe make this, I'm just going to make it 10 times the size. Oh, goodness. You didn't actually resize my guy. Ah, I didn't hit resize canvas contents. Alright, let's try that again. Resize. Resize. Go! I guess it worked. So we can export it now. Good. 320 by 320. We can try this again. I'll go ahead and get rid of idle left and bring down my new one, which we can call idle left, and go back to Stencyl, go back to appearance. We can get rid of that one. Yeah, go ahead and remove it. Add the new one, which will be idle left. Choose the image. There it is. Add. That looks much better, don't you think? I think so. So if we if we go to behaviors, we can replace this with idle left, the new one. There we go. He looks bigger than the old one. I'm sure it'll be fine. And let's test the game. So we can see idle right's the same. I'm running right, I'm running left. If I let go, there we go. Now there's a little issue with him kind of hovering, and that would be found probably in the collisions. If we do idle left, we can see his bounding box is bigger than he is, so we would need to shrink that a bit. So I'll try maybe 75 for the height. That looks pretty good. I might need to make this a bit further down, so that way he doesn't bump into everything even when we're not touching it, which means I need to readjust this, so maybe 50. Oh, 60. Decent. 65. There we go, that looks pretty good. So now, if I try it again, let's see if it looks better. Alright, so turn to the left, let go. Not too bad. If I want to do idle right, I could try to redraw him, but I could also just use this flip vertically, and I can re-export and download, and we'll drag this to my desktop, and this one will be idle right. And so I can add a new one, and we say idle right, and we add the frame, choose the image, idle right, add. We would need to go into behaviors and change idle right. We would need to go into collisions and also change idle right. So this was what, 20? Nope. 15? 12? Okay. 10? 70? 60? 55. There we go. 60... This one was 65. Alright. I probably could have just flipped back and forth to see, but oh well, that's okay. And so now if we test game, both idle right and idle left are correct, but running left and right is still the previous graphics of Mambo. So if I wanted to fix that, then I would need to make some new running graphics.